So are the biggest banks still too big? Remember that the biggest banks are bigger than they were before the crisis. The biggest banks are 20 times larger than they were a couple decades ago. The biggest banks are $2 trillion in assets. That's $1 million times 1 million times 2. I'm Mike Mayo. I'm a bank analyst on Wall Street. I'm part of the checks and balances of our financial system. And I still think it's a matter of management over model. But if you take a big model with bad management, and if they haven't gotten it done over the past decade, at that point I say, send the biggest banks from the major league back to the minor league, break them up, streamline them. It'll be better for shareholders and better for our country. Look, there's a debate. Should we have more regulation? Possibly, but do we need the new banking law to be 20 times longer than the old banking law? You can make it 100 times longer. At some point, you can't write a rule for every action you want individuals and companies to take. On the other hand, there's a debate. Maybe we should have market forces become more powerful. The Wall Street analysts and the accounting firms and rating agencies do their job better. But what we have is the worst of both worlds. We have regulations that are not effective. We have market forces that aren't doing their job. And the result is this sort of market anarchy that got us into the big financial mess that we're in today. I think this decade will be the slowest decade of bank revenue growth since the decade of the Great Depression. Ultimately, our system comes down to trust. And you trust that the regulators are doing their job to oversee the banks. You trust that the rating agencies and accounting firms are making sure the numbers are accurate. You trust that the board of directors are looking over the shoulders of the managers correctly. And you trust the people that you're dealing with. And that bond of trust is what's been broken, most recently by the financial crisis. You've seen it even since then with MF Global. Capitalism didn't cause our financial crisis, but a lack of capitalism. And to me, capitalism is when you have many eyes of the market seeing the information, acting on the information, and being incented to act on that information. And too often, the incentives were out of whack. Einstein said that you should be able to explain physics to a bartender. Well, finance shouldn't be any more complicated than physics, and too often we don't even understand what the companies are doing based on their financial disclosures.